Are you free? Think carefully before you answer. Really let that question sink in. You wake up, and what's the first thing you do? Your hand finds your phone, almost like it's an extension of you, scrolling through the screen in search of something, anything, to jolt your mind awake, to pull it away from the quiet of the morning. Maybe it's a coffee, that warm rush of dopamine as you sip while watching a snappy video, or a song pulsing through your earbuds to drown out the monotony of your commute to work or school. The day rolls on, and you keep consuming. Podcasts filling your ears with chatter, social media flashing endless updates, notifications pinging like a needy friend who won't let you breathe. And then, when you finally trip into a rare moment of silence, maybe waiting for a bus or sitting alone at lunch, what happens? A strange discomfort creeps up, an itch in your soul, an emptiness that feels almost alive, pushing you to reach for yet another distraction, another hit of immediate pleasure. Let's be clear, the problem isn't pleasure itself. Pleasure's woven into us, a natural thread in the human tapestry, an evolutionary whisper urging us toward food, connection, survival. But what happens when that whisper turns into a shout, drowning out everything else? Carl Jung, the Swiss sage who mapped the wild terrain of the psyche, would tell you that your soul isn't just a pleasure-chasing machine. It's a vast, untamed landscape of light and shadow, yearning not just to feel good, but to become whole through a process he called self-awareness or individuation. When you're swept up in the storm of instant gratification, doom scrolling, binge watching, liking, swiping, you might be tuning out a deeper call from the unconscious, that mysterious undercurrent where your truest meaning and growth lie buried, waiting to be unearthed. Jung saw modern society with its obsession over shiny, shallow comforts as a barricade keeping us from facing what he called the shadow, those messy, hidden parts of ourselves we'd rather shove under the rug. Aldous Huxley, in his haunting Brave New World, gave us a glimpse of this too. A world where control doesn't come from chains or guns, but from pleasure, so relentless it numbs you into submission. A vision, Jung might say, cheats us out of the hard-won journey to wholeness. Huxley pictured a society where people adored their servitude, so drowned in delightful distractions that the idea of rebellion felt as foreign as a forgotten dream. Take a good look around. A culture addicted to entertainment, gorging on pleasure like it's a bottomless buffet, sprinting away from any whiff of discomfort. But what's the toll? Is this mad dash for instant happiness lifting you up, or chaining you to a treadmill of meaninglessness? In this audiobook, we're going to peel back the layers of how modern life, seen through Jung's piercing gaze, trains us to flee our shadow, turning pleasure from a gift into a cage. When you dodge the deeper corners of your soul, you might just be crafting yourself into a willing slave, not to a tyrant, but to your own unchecked impulses. A stranger drifting further from who you could be. If you're sitting there thinking you've got your mind on a leash, stick with me, because by the end you might realize that leash has been slipping through your fingers all along. Pleasure as a mask. Perfect slavery doesn't need chains or threats, it only needs pleasure. Subtle and seductive. When pleasure takes the driver's seat in your life, servitude slips on a mask and calls itself freedom. Jung would insist this isn't just some external game society's playing. It's a crisis brewing deep within you. In Brave New World, Huxley spun a tale of a world where people were molded from the cradle to sidestep anything remotely uncomfortable, popping soma, a perfect little pill, to hush every doubt, every pang of sadness. Jung, though, would lean in and ask, what happens to your soul when you keep slamming the door on its pain? What are you losing when you refuse to sit with it, to listen? Let's bring this home. Picture your day. You're bored, maybe restless after a long meeting or a dull class, and that familiar itch starts. Or maybe you're lonely, the kind that gnaws quietly, and you don't even notice it's there until it's loud. What do? Do you stop, breathe, and let yourself feel it? Really feel it? Or do you scramble for the nearest escape hatch? Social media's right there, a kaleidoscope of other people's lives to drown out your own. Or maybe it's food, a quick sugar rush to soothe the edges, or a drink to blur them. Perhaps it's a TV series, hours vanishing into someone else's story so you don't have to face yours. We're living in the golden age of instant gratification. Every crack in your piece can be patched with a swipe, a click, a tap. But here's the rub. This isn't freedom. It's running away. Jung called facing those murky, uncomfortable bits of yourself the work of the shadow. And when you keep sprinting from it, you're not just disconnecting from the unconscious, you're abandoning the chance to stitch yourself into something whole. Imagine Huxley and Jung sitting across a table, hashing this out. Huxley points to soma, this miracle drug that smothers awareness, and Jung nods, seeing it as a stand-in for ducking the unconscious altogether. In our reality, soma's not a pill you swallow. It's the buzz of a notification pulling you out of a quiet moment. The endless reel of bite-sized videos that leave no room for thought. The empty applause of likes and retweets that feel good until they don't. No one's got a gun to your head saying, scroll, consume, repeat. But are you really choosing this? Or has it been drilled into you? Day after day, ping after ping, until needing it feels as natural as breathing. The training of the unconscious. Why is it so damn hard to stop? Let's unpack that. You know you should be doing something else, writing that essay, calling a friend, just sitting with your thoughts, but your hand slides to your phone anyway, like it's got a mind of its own. Jung would say this isn't some fluke. It's a red flag of a soul out of whack. Modern society isn't built to nudge you inward. Think about it. School taught you to memorize dates and formulas, not to wrestle with big questions. Work rewards you for cranking out results, not for staring out the window and wondering why you're here. And the entertainment machine? It's a fire hose of distractions. Movies, memes, trending hashtags, making sure you never have to sit still long enough to hear yourself think. In Brave New World, Huxley's people were brainwashed through hypnopedia, slogans murmured in their sleep until they were gospel. Jung might squint at our world and see something eerily similar. Algorithms feeding you just what you want, ads slipping into your psyche, a flood of info so constant you don't notice it's shaping you. Every buzz, every like, hands you a little dopamine cookie, whispering that happiness is staying busy, staying plugged in, steering clear of anything that feels too heavy. But what's the trade-off? When you can't stand a quiet room with just your own head for company, you're cut off from the unconscious. That deep, swirling pool of symbols, dreams, and truths that Jung said leads you to wholeness. Jung was adamant. The soul hungers for balance, conscious and unconscious, joy and pain, noise and silence. Shut out the pain, and you're slamming the door on growth too. Picture a muscle. If you never lift anything heavy, it atrophies. Same goes for your psyche. Dodge discomfort, and it wilts. A society that can't stomach silence, that freaks out at the first hint of boredom or unease, isn't strong, it's brittle, ripe for the picking. Not by some cartoonish dictator twirling a mustache, but by its own desperate need for the next shiny thing to keep the quiet at bay. Fake happiness and fragility. Imagine a world where suffering's gone. Poof, wiped out the second it shows up. Sounds like heaven, doesn't it? No sadness, no frustration, just smooth sailing forever. But Jung would step in here, voice low and serious, and warn you. That's a mirage, and a dangerous one. A soul that never tangles with hardship doesn't toughen up. It stays soft, brittle, unable to bend without breaking. In Brave New World, Soma was the golden ticket to that fake paradise, washing away any ripple of discontent. But it came at a price. It hollowed out what makes us human. Look at our world. We've got our own Somas, slick and modern. Social media tossing you instant pats on the back. Dating apps promising love without the sting of a no. Algorithms that know you better than you know yourself. Serving up exactly what you want before you even ask. It's all engineered to sand down life's rough edges, to kill the gaps where effort or unease might sneak in. But here's the brutal truth. When you never face pain, you don't build grit. Jung said growing up, really growing, means wrestling with the shadow, those buried pieces of you that scare or shame you. Keep chasing pleasure alone, and you're stuck as a sketch of yourself, swaying in the wind of whatever the world throws your way. Take a step back. When was the last time you let yourself feel something hard? Really feel it, without reaching for a quick fix. If that's rare, maybe you're already in this trap, fragile, not because you're weak, but because you've been trained to dodge the weights that would make you strong. Pleasure or meaning? What are you chasing in this wild ride of life? Happiness or meaning? Let's dig into that. Society's got us on a leash, barking that happiness is the big prize. Smiles, comfort, a life where nothing stings too long. But Jung would lean back, light his pipe, and call that a half-baked lie. Pleasure's fine, those likes racking up, that impulsive online order landing at your door, those late-night episodes you can't stop watching. It's a quick spark, a flash of yes in your brain, but it fades fast, leaving you hollow, pawing for the next hit. Jung would say that's not what your soul's built for. He'd point you to individuation instead. This winding, messy trek to become your truest self by facing down the opposites inside you. Light and shadow, joy and pain, the stuff you show the world and the stuff you hide. Viktor Frankl, a kindred spirit to Jung, scribbled in man's search for meaning that purpose is what drags us through hell and back. Jung would nod along. Pleasure as your only North Star makes you frail. It's like feeding a kid nothing but candy. They'll bounce around happy for a bit, then crash, needy and lost. Meaning or individuation is a slower burn. It's grit and patience, staring into the mirror of your own chaos and not blinking. It doesn't hand you a cushy pillow of instant relief, but it builds something solid. Freedom from chasing shallow highs, a bedrock sense of who you are that doesn't crumble when the likes dry up. But here's the catch. Society doesn't cheer for this. Meaning's a slog. It demands quiet, time, a stubborn no to the candy store of instant fun. Every swipe on a reel, every peek at a notification, is handing over your attention to a machine that thrives on keeping you hooked. Jung might call it the ego drowning in the collective unconscious. You're not you anymore, just a speck in the herd, tugged along by the myths and lures society spins. Someone who finds meaning, though? They're a different beast. They don't need to jam every second with noise. They can sit in the stillness, face to face with themselves, no panic, no flight. That's why this path rattles the system. A person anchored in meaning isn't a puppet. You can't yank their strings with cheap thrills or shiny bribes. They're a force, a soul synced with its own rhythm, untouchable by the outside hustle. Jung saw this as the pinnacle of being human, not dodging pain to stay comfy, but embracing the whole messy sprawl of your psyche. It's not a sprint to the shallow end, it's a dive into the deep, where real freedom swims. Think about the last time you felt truly alive. Was it a quick laugh at a meme, or that hard-won moment when you pushed through something tough and found a piece of yourself on the other side? Breaking the cycle. So how do you bust out of this trap? It's not simple, but it's possible. Jung would say it kicks off with a spark inside, a reckoning with yourself. Step 1. Try conscious withdrawal. No, this isn't about swearing off joy or locking yourself in a cave. It's about dialing back the addictive stuff, social media marathons, junk food binges, streaming till your eyes blur. Pull the plug for a bit and watch what happens. Your mind starts to reset. The small stuff. A sunrise you actually notice, a chat that's not rushed, gets vivid again, no fake jolts needed. Jung would see this as tuning into the unconscious, where dreams, gut feelings, and those weird little symbols that pop into your head start whispering clues to who you really are. Step 2. Toughen up for discomfort. Jung didn't mince words. The shadow's not your enemy. It's you, begging to be seen. Try this. Sit still, no music, just you and the air. At first, it's torture. Your brain, hooked on dopamine candy, will scream for a fix like a toddler mid-tantrum. Stick with it and something shifts. You realize the quiet doesn't kill you, it sharpens you. Jung said these clashes with pain or emptiness are where the soul stretches, where you start knitting those lost pieces back into the fabric of yourself. Ever notice how the best stories, yours or anyone's, come from the rough patches, not the easy ones? Step 3. Fire up your critical mind. Jung's key to dodging the collective unconscious's undertow. Start asking, why do I crave this non-stop distraction? Who's cashing in on my addiction to quick hits? What could I build? Dreams, skills, connections, if I weren't chained to this loop? These aren't just brain teasers, they're crowbars prying open the box you've been stuffed in, letting you peek at your real ego. Not the one ads and apps sculpted, but the raw, one-of-a-kind you that's been there all along. Finally, swap pleasure for meaning. Jung's individuation road. Dig deep. What lights you up? Not for a minute, but for a lifetime. Maybe it's pouring yourself into a friendship that cuts past small talk, or hammering away at a project that's all yours. Art, words, a cause. Maybe it's leaving a dent in the world that screams your name long after you're gone. Jung would say meaning's not a gift-wrapped package. It's a treasure hunt through the unconscious, pieced together from dreams, those late-night epiphanies, the hush when you finally listen to that voice inside. It's a haul, sometimes a slog, but the payoff? Freedom. Not running from life's thorns, but walking through them with a spine of steel, every part of your soul humming in sync. Here's a kicker. This isn't instant. The world's stacked against you. Ads, trends, that friend who thinks you're weird for unplugging. But every step you take is a brick in a wall no one can tear down. Ever met someone who's got that quiet strength, who doesn't flinch at the chaos? That's what you're building toward. Your choice. You've seen the trap now. Pleasure's not freedom. It's a leash yanking you from yourself. Jung would tell you real freedom isn't dodging the hard stuff. It's facing it head on, weaving the shadow into your story, living loud and true to the potential only you carry. But this isn't a stroll in the park. It's swimming upstream in a river of noise and numbness, a society hooked on distraction and drowning in its own excess. Step onto this path, and you'll feel the pushback, inside and out. Change starts and the world shifts around you. Some folks will watch you with awe, admiring how you shrug off the easy bait they're still biting. Others, they'll squirm, pull away, maybe even get prickly. Jung would nod knowingly. When you wrestle your shadow, you turn into a mirror, shining back what they're too scared to face. Your freedom's a spotlight on their chains, that cozy lie that life's good enough if it's fun and painless. They might tug you back, tossing out lines like, "Chill out, it's not that deep," or "Why make it hard when you can just enjoy?" But you've peeked behind the curtain. Pleasure without meaning is slavery with better branding. So where do you plant your flag? Keep drifting, chasing dopamine crumbs, plastering over that gnawing hole inside with louder music and brighter screens. Or do you rise up, claw back your mind, carve out a purpose, and turn into someone no hollow promise can sway? Jung believed every one of us has a seed of wholeness buried deep, but it takes guts to water it, to let it crack through the concrete of habit and fear. Let's get real. Have you ever felt that trap snap shut, caught in the scroll, the snacks, the noise, knowing it's not enough? Do you catch how society dangles pleasure like a carrot to keep you from asking the big, messy questions? Who am I? Why am I here? Drop your story in the comments. Jung would say every question, every shared spark is a step out of the collective fog. If this ride's cracked open a new lens on your world, hit subscribe. Stick around as we chase the trails to self-awareness and the kind of freedom that doesn't fade with the next buzz. This isn't the finish line. It's the starting gun for a conversation with the deepest parts of you.